true Black Africans and African Americans do not claim Black Americans. We are not the same. African tends to focus on progress, family values, and community upliftment rather than dwelling on historical grievances. They prioritize education and hard work. They don't live life blaming the white man for all their failures, challenges, or the choices that they make. Many Africans strive to give their children better opportunities and instill values like hard work and responsibilities. They don't raise their kids to hate the white man and blame them for all of their problems. That's why they can't grow. Africans are hard workers and they work on self-improvement. They hold themselves accountable for their actions instead of making everything about race and blaming the system. True Africans do not celebrate when a white kid loses his life to a black kid. The decent Black Americans out there, we claim you. We see you. And we love you. Thank you for being a decent human being.
Well, I've been covering the situation between Africans and African Americans for some time now. And I feel like this was coming to a head because me living in Philadelphia, it's like African Central. There's a lot of Africans here, man, in Philadelphia. You know, when I was growing up, it was mainly like Liberians and people from Ghana. Now we have like Little Africa here in Southwest where I grew up at on Woodland Avenue. And you have a whole host of Africans from so many different places, from Nigeria, Cameroon, Burkina Faso, Angola, just Guinea, Senegal. They come Mauritania. I got a homie from Mauritania that I work out with in the gym every day. I got another homie from Ivory Coast. I got a homie from Zimbabwe. So I got homies that's coming in from different places, right, in Africa. And when I was, like I said, when I was growing up, it was mainly just Liberia and Ghana. But a lot of these Africans that's coming into the country today, they're not black first. They don't have an idea of what black is. They don't practice Pan-Africanism. They practice Pan-Tribalism. And they only care about the country they come from and the tribe that they come from. Not just the country, but the tribe. And in America, you know, we deal with blackness and based off of our culture and what surrounds our culture. But you have a lot of, like the woman in the beginning of the video, just come here, they talk trash. They don't take the time to understand our culture and what we've been through. And they even had audacity to say that we don't have a culture. So they'll come and say, we complain about the W man too much. We need to let this stuff go. But they'll be the first one to tell you about their country and the government. Well, I couldn't do nothing in my country because the government this and the government that. And you come here and you kiss the W man's behind, or you try to get him to put a baby in you. So that way, listen, it's just a whole bunch of stuff. But they come here and they so judgmental of us, right? And run over there to the dominant society where the dominant society didn't even want them here. But there's a lot of Africans calling out their own community for their anti-black racism, right? They're calling this stuff out and they're saying this.
I posted a video about how African immigrants have hate for Black Americans. And a lot of Africans actually commented and attacked me with their comments. Comments like this and comments like this one. I should speak for myself, and the lady who was actually using that hate speech in that video was speaking for herself. My facts were not accurate. Are you an African immigrant serious? Why you act like you don't know that this is going on in America? Let me give you your instances. When Black Americans go to African shop to braid their hair, I've actually been to African shop where they're braiding hair with a Black American woman, and I see this attitude, this funky attitude that African women give to these Black American women. One beautiful thing I love about Black American is their diversity. They don't mind trying to share your culture, your tradition, and even if they're into you, they don't mind eating your food. The diversity about them is what I love. But even at that, you Africans still find a reason to hate them. And
if there is anything you must understand about African Americans, these people, they don't know how to pretend. They don't know. Anything pretense, they don't know. A lot of them don't know. And when they like you, they will genuinely like you. They are loyal. For the few ones that I've dealt with, man, they were there for me. I can't even lie. The reason why I'm keeping natural hair today, African Americans are the reason why I'm keeping my natural hair today. Because I remember years back when I moved to this country, I used to have a friend, a very close African American friend. We were always together. We laugh together. We eat. We do a lot together. I used to see her hair. Oh my God! I'm like, girl, how are you doing it? Then she explained to me. I started buying the product. I even started using it for my daughter. Right? Let me tell you, for us that came all the way from motherland, we need to learn how to understand African Americans. We need to understand that there's a lot we can benefit from them. Look at the way they cook when it comes to all their food. What they call that food again? Because I know my husband liked that very food. This seafood, boy. Man, forget about it. I also know that you in particular, like my husband, he likes them so much. Because he always talk about it. And when it comes to their clothing, the way they dress, forget about it. Who can even compare with African Americans, especially their women? Who can even compete when it comes to looking good? They got this natural.
As an African living in the United States, I used to share the same sentiment that Africans share about African Americans because I had a hard time when I first moved here. People used to always tell me, you're not black enough, you're an Oreo, you're secretly white on the inside, as if I wasn't literally from Africa. But I now understand after living here for 8 years that black in the United States is a very specific criteria and anything outside of that just doesn't fit. But I want to help African Americans understand that Africans coming to the United States are immigrants, first and foremost. Then they are Nigerian or Senegalese or whatever country they're from. And then at some point, they are black. But Africans don't put black high up on their identity well as much as African Americans do. And that is for legitimate reasons on both ends. And so when an African is coming to the United States, they're thinking to themselves, okay, I'm an immigrant here. I have to do my best for myself and my family back home. The sacrifices that took for me to get here were no light work, okay? So I need to really align myself with what's going to make me successful in this country. And because it's the United States, it's the dominant culture, which is white American culture. And so Africans are going to instinctively ally themselves with the culture that's going to give them the most success. I mean, African Americans even admit that they have to code switch to be successful here because that's what brings success. And so Africans are like, all right, we'll do that. And it also doesn't help that for a long time, Africans are fed a very negative view of Black American culture, and that's its own propaganda. But because Africans are so conservative and they're coming to a country where Black Americans have been labeled as the antithesis to this conservative traditional family values, they have, if anything, more in common with Southern Baptist white racist people. But that aside, going back to identity markers, Black Americans put Black first and foremost, and then everything else goes below it. And so they're thinking when another Black people come to our country, they're going to want to integrate with us, the other Black people, because Black comes first. And they get quickly disappointed in realizing that for Africans, Black and the identity and that coming is not first. Their immigrant identity comes first, and then their country. And if anything, for us as Africans to feel like that's my brother, that's my brethren, or whatever, you have to come from the same tribe as us, because we have so many Black people around, we don't automatically pre-select for Black. But Black Americans don't have so many Black people around, have had to defend and protect their culture amidst a dominant white culture, and so they are already pre-select and are overprotective for Black. And so that's why I think at the core of it, there's a deep misunderstanding because of not realizing that we put where we put our identity markers and what we put first and what we prioritize are so different culturally because of our differences in trauma.
So these are Africans exposing and calling out their own people for their anti-Black racism on Black Americans for no reason. Like, you guys will go and say, well, you call us African booty scratcher. Well, newsflash, we call each other African booty scratcher. Everything that we call you guys in our jokes as part of our culture, we called each other that first. We like everything, tar baby, just everything. These are things that we actually practice on each other and was part of the culture, right? But there was they have Africans going around saying that we don't have culture. We dwell in victimhood too much. We're racist against the W man. Like, you actually have Africans that come here to say that because they're coming from trauma and from colonialism within their own countries, and they see the W man as somebody, as a group that's winning, so they side with them because they figure that can give them the closest to any form of success. So in their countries, they're all black, and their enemies based off of tribalism is black. So it's easy for them to see us and just have an agenda against us because they just see us as a different tribe. Well, I don't mess with those people. Look down on us, right? So they come and say we don't have a culture while extracting from our culture and benefiting from us. They come here and talk like this.
Whitewashed. How can you call someone whitewashed while wearing a blonde wig? If someone calls you whitewashed, coon, or Uncle Tom, take it as a compliment. Congratulations. Those labels are usually thrown at people who don't fit the tired stereotypes, people who aren't part of the black fatigue crowd. It means you are not ghetto, not FBA drama obsessed, not someone who hates white people just for existing, and not trapped in the endless victimhood loop while stirring up trouble. It means you're not racist, not xenophobic, and not stuck in the small-minded box they want to keep you in. Other names they might throw at you: sellout, Oreo, Negro, bootlicker, white man's pet, traitor. The list is endless because when you refuse to be miserable with them, they will invent anything to drag you back down. What other names do they use? What names am I missing?
No foundation. See, African Americans asked for civil rights, but they didn't have a foundation on which it can germinate. See, things you ask, especially...
What do you mean it didn't have a foundation for it?
They have no culture, they have no language, they have no history, they have no ethnicity, they have nothing.
Yes, they did. They came here with their culture. They came
Who is
here.
they?
The different African tribes.
Different African tribes, so whose culture is going to be the main culture?
Right.
So with time, you become Ebonics. Nobody has anything. They are now still using 2 English names. They are now having only Christianity as their religion. They can remember their history, culture, traditions, customs. So you have no foundation, is what I'm trying to say. African Americans in this country are the only groups. They have no culture. It depends on who you meet, where you meet them.
But currently there's not an African American culture?
No.
Yes, there is.
What is it? Name 2 value systems in the African American culture.
Value system?
Yes. Name 2 taboos in the African American culture system. Name 2 traditions, by the way, in the African American culture system. Okay, forget it. Name 2 customs in the African American culture. Look, I'm being serious.
No, but I mean, I'm thinking about it.
Yes, there is no value for freedom if you don't understand what it is. The concept of free. You have to have a foundation on which it would balance when you ask for it. Civil rights, they give it to you. You have no culture. Nancy, you've been here, born here. Why would you be surprised if I say African Americans don't have a culture? What, twerking? So, anything
but I feel like African American culture has definitely
you say
mainstream.
No, you say the word, the African American culture. What is it? Okay, fine.
Like hip hop.
Oh,
not
Jesus
hip hop.
Christ.
I mean, I don't want to.
Look,
yes, I feel like
you haven't thought about it. It's fine. Don't make things up.
I'm not making it up.
Okay,
I feel like
then educate me. You feel. You should know. You were born and raised here.
Yes, but I have a.
Are you African American?
I'm Haitian American.
That's correct. Do you see why you were being specific with that? Because anybody who encounters you already knows you before. If they know you are Haitian, at least 2 things come to their mind.
What is that?
If they've been to Haiti, they can look at work ethics and they say, yes, Haitians, I know them. Service industry, they know where they do well. Food, they can say yes. And even language, Creole.
Right.
And they can say, oh, I love Haitians. Because they saw the culture in abstract before they encountered you. So people go over the bridge of your culture, your tradition, your customs, and that helps them to know how to
address it.
Exactly.
And see, when that man says that we don't have no culture, he's being disrespectful because the man is not a dummy. He knows exactly what he's saying. And he's being disrespectful because for a long time our arms and our door has been wide open. He understands what the definition of ethnogenesis is, or we say we have an ethnogenesis. He understands that. He understands that we are the distinct group that's over time became our own people, our own identity. And our culture is shaped on the things that we've been through over time that created this ethnic group and created our identity. Right? So we have a distinct culture separated from the cultures throughout the world because of how we actually came about as a people. And other groups extract from this culture and benefit from it. From not just our food, not just our music, not just like our music and arts, but our political activism, everything, our sports genres, our inventions, everything formulates the culture that makes the so-called African American or the Negro or the colored or the Native Americans or whatever you want to call us that's become a ethnic group, right? They know all of this. They know this. They watch from all over the world and emulate what we're doing, right? They seen successful black people, right, on this land before they came here. And because of the culture that we were formulating, we are the reason why they wanted to come here in the first place. If you don't believe me, listen to what some of these Africans are saying, or these immigrants are saying about us, about black Americans. Check this out.
As an African woman living in the United States, I have never experienced prejudice from Black Americans or African Americans, however you call yourself. Never. I came to this country and I was embraced and welcomed by them. They love me. I love them back. Like, I found my people for real. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I found my people because they're really open-minded compared to Africans. And I've always been a very open-minded person, like very, very open-minded person. And I just felt like I didn't fit there. I didn't fit with y'all Africans. I love us though. I love us so much. Like, I love my roots. I love where I come from. But I can just with y'all to a certain extent because certain conversations I can't have with y'all because y'all too prejudiced about things. You know what I mean? Y'all not open-minded enough for me, at least. But y'all come here in the United States with preconceived notions already. All y'all have to say about black people in America is they're ghetto, they're this, they're that. Yeah, they might be a little ghetto, just like y'all a little ghetto over there too. Y'all need to stop acting like there's no ghetto people over there. There are ghetto people in Africa. There are ghetto people, African ghetto people in Europe as well. I come from Europe. I was born and raised in Europe. There are ghetto people all around the world.
So I want to talk about the tension between the African community and the Black American community. And I know this because I have African parents, but I was born in America. So I see the BS. But I feel like in America, the media portrays Africa to be like some poor ass continent where people are just living in huts. And it's like, obviously there's poverty in Africa. But, baby, there are mansions out there. Okay? We got money out there. Okay? I have like 3 homes in Africa. Big mansions. Like, Africa is not all poverty. But like, I feel like America makes it seem like it is. And then on top of it, I feel like the white man has instilled into Africans that Black Americans are ghetto and ratchet. There are some Africans who really think that Black Americans are just ghetto and ratchet and they're superior to them. And it's a really weird divide because it's like, baby, we all are your enemy and y'all just, I don't know. But yeah, we need to dismantle that because it's looking real messy. Like, the amount of times I got called African booty scratcher by Black Americans and the amount of times I've heard African people talk bad about Black Americans, like, yeah, get your act together. We all have the same enemy and y'all need to realize that there's one common denominator here. And it is Mr. Uncle Tony. Okay?
So I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday, and we were talking about Caribbean cultures, and Black American culture came up, and he was talking about how, Black Americans don't have a culture. And I said, no, Black Americans definitely have a culture, especially me dating and being in love with a Black American, and being able to go back home to North Carolina with him and getting to meet his family and getting to see like all the things that they do have as far as like traditions, foods that they like to eat, what time of year they do different things. They do have a culture. And I had an epiphany when he was saying that, but I didn't get to say it in the moment because the conversation was going so fast. But I had this epiphany that as a Canadian-born Haitian woman living in America, everything I'm able to do is because I'm living within Black American culture. When I think about my career and all the big things that I've done, Black Americans have been tied to that. My first big network job was at BET, and that was because of a Black American woman by the name of Tanya Hoffler, who's been in the business for years. She saw something in me and she gave me that opportunity. And mind you, she gave it to me at a time where people in my community were telling me how I wasn't gonna be anything and I ain't shit and I'm a nobody. And they were doing all this because I had asked the DJ to stop tagging me in promotional flyers for parties that he did not want to pay me to attend. And their response to me was, "You're nobody." Meanwhile, a Black American gave me a job at a major network. I have a job with Hulu right now, and that came from Black Americans. I had a podcast for rap shit called Chat Shit, and that was on HBO. And you know why I was able to do the Chat Shit podcast on HBO? It was because of Issa Rae. That was her show, Issa Rae, Black American. I have been able to thrive because Black American culture exists. And I think that a lot of us that are, Haitian or Jamaican or Nigerian or whatever, African, or even those of us who are Afro-Latino, or even those of us who are not Black, who get to profit off of Black culture more than actual Blacks get to profit, you really have to give Black Americans their flowers, because a lot of us would not be able to thrive the way we do in America if it wasn't for Black American culture. We literally live off of Black American culture while we live within it. I'm literally a Canadian-born Haitian woman living in America, and I get to pay my bills off of my personality, off of the things that I say, and that is because of Black American culture. Within the Haitian culture, the things that I say is very not accepted. You know what I mean? And me being able to be bold and confident and say the things I want to say and say what I really want to say, when I want to say it, how I want to say it, that is because of the Black American culture. And I will always be thankful for that. And I think that those of us who are not Black American, but living here, especially those of us who are living here, we have to honor Black Americans. This is their fucking land. This land is their land, and we're on their land. We are on they shit. So give them their fucking flowers.
So this is Africans and people from the Caribbean explaining their experience. Now, the one hypocrite that was saying that we don't have culture, it's funny how in this next clip, he's talking about all of the things in Africa that they used to follow. They would change their names to Black American names. They watched our movies. They was going to the barbershop. When they seen us have the afros, they went and got afros. They dressed like us, talked like us, walked like us, cooked like us, did everything like us. But at the same time, this guy says that we don't have a culture. Look at this.
We use this occasion to address it. I wanted to make it into a whole episode. I've heard too many times that African Americans believe that we Africans look down upon them when we come to this country, and we think we're better than them. It's false, I'll tell you, based on knowledge. It's false, totally false. When we were young in Africa, we worshipped African Americans. Yes. We changed our names to African Americans. My friends in school were called Jim Brown, Black Moses. Yes.
Wow.
I was called Superfly.
Okay.
Yes.
Go King.
Blacks in Africa, the barber shop, we go to barber shop until blacks started wearing afro, and we stopped and we started wearing afro. Really? We blacks hated our own fabric, the dashiki, until African Americans made it popular in the 70s, and we all started wearing it back. As a case, I had his albums. Yes. We've watched all the movies. Kool-Aid High, TNT Jackson, A Hell Up in Harlem, Detroit 9000, Truck Turner, you name it. And then we go home and we're trying to practice how they speak and all that. Really? That was when we were in Africa. Ask any African who went through the 60s and 70s. They'll tell you, oh, we love them. Maya Angelou moved to Ghana. And she was like a...
See, if I was sitting there with that African man while he was talking, I would tell him, the idea of what you believe makes up a culture is not set for the so-called Black American. Because in our ethnogenesis, we formulated our own culture based off of our experience, and our identity came based off of that experience because we went through something that was unique. Now, there was slavery within the world, absolutely. But there was something different here through chattel slavery where they wiped out everything. They took away your cultures, your religion, your God, your four ways, your more ways, your everything. And in that, and in our resiliency to fight, in our struggle, right, we became the prototype for revolution and for fighting, right? You had the Haitian Revolution, but from 1790 to 1804, a lot of them fled Haiti and they came into Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. They came into Louisiana. They came into the South, and they came into America. Right? Because we had over 217 insurrections here in America, right? From the Gold Coast Rebellion to the Stono Rebellion to the New York Conspiracy. I can go on and on and on. Negro Fort. We had rebellions here because we didn't want to be slaves. We were constantly fighting, right? The Umasi Wars, constantly fighting. The Seminoles, we were constantly fighting every day. And our resiliency to fight formulated our culture, formulated our activism that permeated throughout the world, that went into South Africa, that went into Nigeria, that went into Ghana, that went into all these places. A lot of those leaders came here, Cheney University. They studied here, right? The first president of Nigeria was the president of Ghana. They all came here. They studied here and took a lot of the fight back abroad. So when you say that we don't have culture, it's actually insulting and it's disrespectful. Because when you say that you want to wear afro, afro was part of the culture, it was self-identifying. It was power to the people, right? But we don't have a culture. See, because he's identifying culture with a language, a food. He said that they hated they can't take off until they saw us wear it. These are the things that he's saying, right? But we identify our culture as our way of surviving. And in our survival tactics, we influence the world off of it. Other groups watched us and they began to emulate what we were doing here, right? To get their freedoms. They was practicing our culture. The way we talk, the way we walk, the way we fight. The way we sing, the way we dance, the way we eat. All of these different things, but they turn around and say that we don't have no culture. And the reason why they say that we don't have no culture, because Black American dysfunction is profitable for everybody else. And the minute you wake up and start to gatekeep, they can no longer come in and extract without paying. There has to be a price now. You have to purchase something now. You can't just come in and take. We're saying no, because Big Mama opened up her arms for a long time, and the love that Big Mama was giving, it wasn't being reciprocated. And now we're saying no. Because see, they were coming here, and our arms was wide open because we didn't identify with the tribalism that you identified with back into your homeland. We identified with your blackness. And when you came here with that black skin, right, and your blackness, you was one of us. Ask Marcus Garvey. Ask Farrakhan. Ask Sophie Carmichael. You was one of us, and we loved you. We even allowed you to become a leader amongst the group. But what we found out, that while we was practicing Pan-Africanism, you was practicing Pan-Tribalism. And now we shutting the door, and we checking that paperwork. We checking the paperwork. But for some reason, you hate us for that. But you can fly your flags anytime you want and separate yourself. You know how many times I had Africans tell me, you're not African, you're American. So now we say, okay, fair enough. We're not African, we're American. Now you upset. Now you upset. And I'm saying this, I don't hate Africans. I don't like the ones that come here and say that we don't have a culture. I don't like the ones that got the mitigated gall to come here and look down on us as if they control all the resources in their country and they didn't kick the French and the British in the ass and told them to get out. They haven't. So we all got challenges and things that we need to work on. You don't have a right to look down on us. Especially when you leave your country and got to come here and you got to benefit from the fight that we've been doing here. We didn't run to your country. You came here. And you're benefiting from the people, from the shoulders that we stand on. If you come in, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're a dentist, you're an entrepreneur, know that Black Americans did it first. That's the reason why you brought your behind here, because you already saw successful Black people. As that guy that said that we don't have no culture said. They were emulating everything that we were doing. So we gotta put it into this foolishness, man. I don't hate Africans and Caribbeans. I love my brothers and sisters. But what I don't like is when you come here, you got the superiority complex because you feel like you have a culture. Well, if you have a culture, your culture wasn't strong enough to keep you in your country. Your culture wasn't strong enough to keep leaders from double-crossing their own people. Your culture wasn't strong enough to save you against the French and the British. Your culture wasn't strong enough to keep your country from being dilapidated and having child soldiers and all these different things that go on in your country. So see how I can throw that back in your face? To stop throwing stuff in our face. And let's try to heal together and fix this thing, man. So I'm going to cut this video short here. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, and leave your comments in the comment section. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.